Yeah.
Oh my God. We just got back from the Warriors game.
Hey.
I'm here with my co-host, Rick Berry. Rick Berry, how are you feeling today? It was Rick Berry bobblehead night, so we each have bobblehead, which will be a central part, I'm sure, of our new rituals and superstitions here at Jump League. Anyway, we're here to do the final curse of the season. This is the one that will carry us through the playoffs.
This is probably the most important one.
Right.
It's a big deal. Also, we're keeping it a little quiet because my roommates are asleep.
That's fine.
So,
we did all our yelling earlier today,
yes,
so it's fine.
We did all the yelling at the Warriors game, so this is just a somber league curse, but let's get it started right away.
All right, number one. I'm thinking of a player. He was a number 2 pick overall. Okay. I don't know why, whatever. He went in China, he did other stuff. He's back. The same team.
I hope it's Darko Milicic.
Actually, it's the bonus.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. It's Michael Beasley. The Miami Heat have been really looking for any depth of scoring, especially with Chris Bosh going down, which is so sad. I really like Chris Bosh.
Get well, CB.
Michael Beasley, not sure he's the answer.
No, I mean, the thing is, like, he's got familiarity with the organization. You know, he might know, like, might fit in with the offense and stuff. They know what they're getting out of him. He's still only 26 years old, so, like, he might still have some promise in there. And apparently he was doing really well in China, so maybe it's something they could do. I mean, they did a really good job of developing like D-League players this year, like Hassan Whiteside, Bill Walker, Tyler Johnson. Like, if they can turn those guys around, you know, maybe they have the confidence now that they're in a position where they can turn around a former number 2 pick in a draft. So maybe that's the reason behind it, you know.
I still think it's really chody to accept Michael Beasley into an organization. Yeah. Like, whether it works or not, it's the really chody risk.
Yeah, it definitely is. Especially this is
fat tails of risk.
This is the 3rd time he's been on the team. He's that ex-girlfriend that they just can't get over. They just want to keep going back for more.
All right, Michael Beasley. So the Heat lost 8 games in the last 4 weeks, or 5 with the All-Star. So they have 8 slips in the drawing.
Yeah, so we're doing the random number generator thing again. Because we're saving the environment.
Rick Berry? I don't think you approve of this. No.
Well, Rick Berry is too old school. So yeah, if the random number generator falls between 1 and 8, the Miami Heat are the cursed team. Second, so we have a team that has also recently brought in someone to try to bring things around in the chemistry department, and that is the Minnesota Timberwolves brought in Kevin Garnett. And there's a particular threat made. How do you feel about this threat?
Well, there are tons. So he's been yelling at Pekovic, not getting back on defense in practice. He's just so intense, and he can't turn off like his mouth. He can turn off his brain. That's the only thing he can turn off. And he does it every time when he hits it 3 times to reboot it before each game. But Kevin Garnett apparently is threatening to throw the phones of any rookie who doesn't listen to him into a toilet. That's certainly chody. We think the whole situation is a little weird, and while it's nice to have your final rah-rah with your team, as opposed to, say, Patrick Ewing or Hakeem Olajuwon or Steve Nash, rest in peace, it's also maybe more weird to bring them back. I'm not sure what you do once you traded a player away.
No, I think it's good to bring him back, especially since there's the promise of him like being involved in the ownership of the team, like maybe coaching in some realm. So I think it makes sense. Also, the Timberwolves like needed some sort of feel-good story for the way their season has been going, and they got a good, young, fun team. I do think it's pretty funny that he did threaten to throw people's phones in toilets, which for anyone that's played through the 2K15 My Career mode, that would be great so that, you know, your other teammates don't read your messages and rat you out to the coach. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing. Just lots of threats. It's just like you have this like very young, innocent team, and then you bring in KG, and it's just like, oh god, this changes everything.
Right.
So
at this point, Kevin Garnett's age and SAT score are equivalent.
Yeah, probably.
He's come full circle. It's really beautiful. Anyway.
So yeah, Timberwolves lost 14 times in the past span, which is quite a lot. They're giving my Knicks a run for the worst team in the league, and that's not a race that I'm willing to lose. So if the random number falls between 9 and 22, the Timberwolves are cursed. So how about the next team?
Awesome. So we have the Spurs are a very smart organization, right? They rest their players.
Sure.
Despite a rocky start to the year, injuries and stuff, they're starting to put it together.
They're really scary. Like, really scary.
Right, because they will be just putting it together like just in time to like kill people. Anyway, other franchises have tried to copy the Spurs, especially since the finals were like an amazing finals.
Hawks have done it, Warriors have done it.
Right, and so have the Nuggets now by putting their entire team in cryogenic freeze chambers for games at a time.
Maybe not that extreme.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah, the Nuggets, if you guys are not aware, the Nuggets are starting to bench their starters for rest purposes. And if you're also not aware, the Nuggets are like
not in the playoffs.
They're still technically in playoff contention. Or no, I think they very recently got knocked out, maybe like a day or two ago.
Yeah.
But like, there's no reason to do it, and it's just like a painfully obvious tanking, just not even in the fun way. Like, the Nuggets were having teams sit people against them. Like, the Warriors and the Hawks both chose the Nuggets as the team that they were not going to play their starters against. And a lot of that's because of the whole elevation thing in Denver and, you know, making the travel out there and all kinds of stuff like that. But still, when you're a team that major teams are doing that to you and then you start doing it, that's incredibly chody, and it makes no sense at all. And the Nuggets have no business doing it.
But you know what Denver fans pay to see?
Trill Barton?
Yeah. That's it. That's all I want.
Trill Barton either do amazing or the worst. He was never. I picked him up twice on my non-chode league fantasy team, and immediately after I did for both, he was just terrible. And I just recently dropped him, and I'm sure he's going to go out for 85 points.
I can't believe I have to get him off immediately.
You probably should, since I just dropped him.
Anyway, yeah, I can't even name enough Denver bench players to make any jokes here because there's nothing to see.
I mean, like the starters.
Yeah. Anyway, we think that's a stupid team, and we haven't backed on them yet all year, so it's time now.
Yeah. So there we go. So they lost 12 times. They if the Ram number falls between 23 and 34, they are the cursed team. All right. The next is a team that I personally love to hate. And that is the Houston Rockets. Now, the Rockets are not only a boring team to watch, and not only are some Rockets fans annoying and incredibly full of themselves, and Houston, there was like a statistic thing on Reddit where like Houston Rockets fans are like some of the most fair weather fans in the NBA. Like, they only show up when the team is good. And as someone that lived in Houston for the past 8 years, that totally makes sense. Like 150%. Yeah. Like, no one gave a crap about the Rockets until, you know, they got Harden. And then they were like, oh, I love the Rockets, you're Red Nation. So I don't like the Rockets. I don't like the way James Harden plays, all kinds of stuff like that. What I've recently really disliked is Daryl Morey's super hardcore push for Harden to be MVP. And that is what brings us to this chody curse. So if you guys didn't see, it was on Reddit. It went pretty viral. It was the Rockets did a highlight recap video where it was in the style of NBA Jam, and it was awesome. Very well edited. They did a very good job with the whole video. They got like the whole team involved. They got the actual voice guy from NBA Jam, like the main guy, to do all the stuff for it and re-record like new things specifically about the team and the plays. It was awesome. Really well made video. Like, shout out to the Rockets PR team. That's great. What's chody about it though is James Harden has 4 highlights in it. And during all 4 highlights, they refer to him as the MVP. Not like potential MVP or MVP like candidate. They call him the MVP 4 times. And the video is only like 3 minutes long. So just like to call him the MVP like almost every 30 seconds and just like shove it down. Probably, you know, just to build morale for the team.
Probably for the Trevor Ariza highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's such a shame. Like you said this too, like the Rockets aren't cool, and they made a cool video.
Yeah, it makes me really sad because I'm sad that it's a Rockets thing and it's not like an NBA thing. I was really hoping this would like happen for every single team, or at least the good ones, like all the playoffs teams. That'd be awesome. And then I found out it was just a Rockets
Sixers. Them just getting blocked.
I mean, NBA Jam's 2-on-2, right? They got 2 good players, Covington and Noel. It would work out just fine. So yeah, the Rockets. Not just, you know, further, it sucks. Like, even when they do something as cool as this, it still makes me hate them.
Right. And even when you have an MVP candidate, you can still turn it into something chody.
Yeah.
If you're like kind of an asshole about it and like weirdly
there were things at the MIT Sloan conference. Apparently, every time Morey gives some sort of talk, he like really, really, really pushed for like Harden to be the MVP, and it was just like really weird and obnoxious and unnecessary. You know, he should just be able to speak for himself.
Player at some point, actually,
like if I was a media guy, I would be kind of annoyed by it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will, you know, we put them up for the chode contention, and if we look at our random number thing, if they only had 7 losses, so if their number falls between 35 and 41, they are cursed. And Ricky, you want to lead us into our final curse contender?
I would love to. My favorite player was always Dwayne Wade, but in the newer generation, my favorite player is definitely Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, great guy.
He was one of the inspirations for Chode League because I thought it was amazing. Like, he could be so good and so stupid. And I wanted to quantify like that difference between how good a player was and how stupid they were.
We have Chode League.
They led to Chode League. He's one of the, with JaVale McGee and DeMarcus, he's one of the fathers on Mount Rushmore of Chode League. Yes, Mount Chode. And but he has a really tough problem ahead of him. I mean, even getting in the playoffs will be hard. But now Durant is probably out for the season.
Yeah.
And like, if you look at just the history of this organization, they had a lot of injury problems this year and in past years.
It's like the past 3 years, ever since Kevin or Harden.
Right, and we've started to notice through talking to each other, it's because they're kind of rushing players back.
Yeah, they just don't have a good training staff.
It's
they're
very
like the anti-Phoenix.
Yeah, it's very like Portland Trailblazers-ish, but maybe worse. You were saying.
Yeah, when you look at the Trailblazers injuries, a lot of that's kind of out of their control. Like Brandon Roy's knee issues, like that's not something the training staff can do. Same thing with Odin and like all this other stuff. But with the Thunder, they've had issues of like rushing players back, and sometimes it's been okay. Like last year with Serge in the playoffs, like they thought he was going to be out for the whole playoffs, and then he came back for like Game 5 against the Clippers. So it was like then that worked out okay. And then even Russell this year, like when he dented his face and then played the next day in a mask, like so sometimes it works out, but like it's unfortunate that this particular Kevin Durant issue has been a big deal. And there's been times like in the past and even this season where like Russ would be hurt, you'd come back and then you have to take like a week or two off or whatever. But like this Kevin Durant foot thing is like a big deal. If you guys didn't really know what happened, Kevin Durant, like he injured his foot at some point. And then it was something where it was supposed to be like 4 to 6 weeks or whatever. They brought him back at 4. And then while that was going on, he hurt his toe. And then they had to like put screws in his toe and in his foot. Your
toe is part of your foot.
So they had to put screws in his foot to like make sure everything's aligned. And then like a week after that, they realized that the screws were put in wrong. So they had to like re-put in the screws. So then he was like out with more toe stuff. Then he tried to play again, and then his like foot was swelling a lot because it was just like he was just not ready for it. And then now he might be out for like the whole season. And it's just like, not only do you not want to rush a player back, but you don't want to rush back like Kevin Durant. Like previous MVP Kevin Durant.
Current MVP.
Well, yeah, reigning MVP Kevin Durant. Like a big deal. Like definitively before all this crap, the second best player in the league. And, you know, now with Anthony Davis being great, that might be up for contention. But like Kevin Durant is ridiculous at basketball. And if if it's coming up where he needs to decide, you know, where he's going to sign his next big contract with, like maybe he wants a team with a good training staff and not one that's like screwing him up. So I don't know what's going on, but like maybe Phoenix is in contention for Kevin Durant.
Like this is like probably actually the chodiest thing we've talked about in a lot of ways. It's not just like, oh no, like Jason Kidd spilled Coke or something like stupid like for a game. Like this could be his whole career and the Thunder's like ongoing future.
Yeah.
Like this is almost like it has a potential to reach like a Harden trade level.
Yeah,
like, oh
really
God,
does.
what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going for Kevin Martin? Anyway, like I think this is a developing thing that we've noticed as a pattern, and we want to see if it like continues.
I mean, the problem with OKC is like if they don't retain their stars, and this is just like a scary thing. If you don't retain your stars, like who's gonna want to go to Oklahoma City to play basketball? Like you have no big market claim. Like the only reason the Thunder are relevant is because they had a great team and they've drafted well and they've been good at basketball. But like, it's not like Oklahoma City has great culture. Like even like Oklahoma City makes Milwaukee
not signed there because they have no culture. That was specifically the reason.
Yeah, like they make Milwaukee sound awesome. Like at least that's a major city. Like Oklahoma City is like really boring, and it's just named after the city. Like you're gonna name your city Oklahoma City? That's terrible.
It's like named after cities.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, also Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, I get New York City, maybe not, but whatever. But that's like in the Northeast, and it's like really old.
Also, it's hundreds of years before, so
Exactly.
it's fine.
So like when Oklahoma, like you can come up with something, right? Like name it after a guy.
New York City.
All right. Well, anyway, the Thunder lost only 5 games. So if the random number falls between 42 and 46, then that is the curse. So I'm gonna put
All
the
right.
random
First of all, we have to
number.
have the drum roll with the head.
Yeah.
Of Rick Barry.
Go for it. All right.
Drum roll,
We're
please.
gonna make sure this is like legit. You can see minimum 1, maximum 46 generated, and the number is 10. So that means it goes to the Minnesota
Oh
Timberwolves.
my God!
I mean, statistically, they had a pretty large advantage.
They had a huge advantage.
It's about time. They've been doing.
They've been bad all year, and you know what?
Yeah.
You can't flush people's phones down the toilet when you disagree with them. That's very passive
But
aggressive.
if you're Kevin Garnett,
Or-
you can do whatever you want because you're back in Minnesota.
Oh my God!
But yeah,
Treasure every moment.
thanks for joining us, guys. Glad you could be with us for the whole ride. If you're in Chode League and in the playoffs, good luck. Unless you're playing me, don't win. And
I don't approve of that message.
you do? Are you kidding me? This is Chode League.
I approve of my message.
What, you're just-
Lose to me. Anyway,
but yeah, thanks for being along for the whole ride, guys. All the curses and stuff. We're gonna be still pumping out articles. As
sorry.
no, it's fine. No one's reading them anyway.
Yeah, no one's watching us right now.
No, it's us. So
You don't exist.
if you gonna have the week's interviews coming. Get ready for the playoff drinking game. That's going to be something that's going to be really big. Zach Lowe, Sassy Tweets of the Year. So those are some stuff that's going to be going.
Drinking game. I don't know anything about drinking, Mike.
Oh, right. It's drinking water. It's a hydration game.
Oh, that sounds healthy.
It is. You're supposed to get your 8 glasses. We're going to help people do that. So yeah, anyway, thank you guys for being along for the ride. It's been a fun season of curses, but the season is not over yet. So good luck in the playoffs.
We love you.
And so does Rick Barry. Oh.
Well, not really, but
Nah.
that's. Bye.